we've got, tuxedos in here that retail for $6,000, but we can offer them for less than half of what they would retail for.
Before we get into today's conversation, I want you to imagine this: a men's fashion store that doesn't just sell clothes, but gives new life to pre-owned clothing in a way most people haven't even thought about yet. Later in this interview, we'll unpack how that very idea reframes value in fashion for consumers and sellers alike. Hi, I'm Reg Ferguson, founder of New York Fashion Geek, and this is the Fashion Geek podcast, where style meets strategy. Today, we're checking out one of Soho's most intriguing fashion spaces, Respoke Boutique on 41 Wooster in New York City. A place where classic pieces meet reinvention. We'll talk about craftsmanship, creative risk, and why so many men overlook the story in what they wear. But first, let's hit up the store. To understand why Respoke exists, we have to go back to a design insight most men never notice, and it changed everything for the owner. But we'll get to that turning point in a bit. What you're about to hear is why they chose Soho and why the store's presence isn't just about geography. Look at this. We are here in Soho, and I am here with Oriofe Aluadatta, who is the owner of Respoke Boutique here on 49 Wooster.
41 Wooster.
40, what did I say? I said 49? Don't go to 49. It's 41.
Couple doors.
So, thank you so much for having us. We turned this around very quickly, but we have been friends in fashion for quite a while, and I've got to see you do a bunch of things, and now we're here. So, Oreo, what is Respoke Boutique?
That's a question. Respoke is a store that we source items from bespoke tailors, made-to-measure shops, some vintage as well. But it's a really new concept where we are emphasizing getting quality items for a lesser price. So we mostly focus on tailoring, proper tailoring, and menswear. We have some women's wear, but women don't get stuff made all that often. So it's really focused on just getting good quality menswear, some of it secondhand, a lot of it new.
So when it's new, is it an individual comes to you and goes, you know what, I bought this, I never wore it? Like, how are you sourcing?
So we're sourcing right now directly from tailors. We want to eventually get into buying from individuals, but right now, a lot of what we have is actual samples, so try-on. So when you go to a place like, a made-to-measure shop or a bespoke shop, they'll have kind of some of those shells or finished samples or finished pieces that they'll put you on to just see kind of roughly what size you are, how certain things fit. And they'll make those to the fullest extent. Those will be hand finished as well. So we buy all those try-on garments. We'll have them anywhere from a size 32 all the way up to like a 56.
Nice.
So when they get rid of their samples, we'll get new ones, whether they're, changing for like made to measure, they're changing the kind of like cut of certain things, then we'll get all of those, or if fabrics go out of stock for certain things, we'll get all those things as well. So it's a variety, but we get a lot of new things. If there's client kills or what they call them, the client gets it, it doesn't fit just right, or the client said peak lapels and, you put notch lapels on it, then those things can't be fixed. So we'll buy that, they'll remake the garment for the client, and then we'll buy that garment that gets put on their back rack, because a lot of these businesses aren't in the business of selling imperfect garments, or they're not in the business of selling anything off the rack. They're in the business of making you new things and having it fit as perfectly as possible.
So when you decided to launch the business, first of all, how did you come up with the name?
I actually got it from Corey, honestly. Corey from Michael Andrews Bespoke, because he pitched me an idea which was called, he wanted to do Michael Andrews Respoke, and I was like, I actually like the play off the word bespoke. So I didn't come up with that completely by myself,
Yeah,
but
I know
I took
Corey.
it, I ran with it, and I was like, you know what, Respoke, it's a nice play off the word bespoke, and since then I was like, this is actually perfect because a lot of the garments, like I said, they're respoken, and they're respoken for by
Right.
new people now.
Okay. So big shout out to Corey. Met him a few times over at Michael Andrews.
Great guy.
Yeah. Yep. The right hand man of Mr. Andrews himself.
Yep.
No question about that. You brought up something I want you just to elaborate for the audience who doesn't know all the jargon and the lingo that we know. Let's talk about two pieces of lingo. Client kill. So you said it, but can you just review it again for the audience?
A kill is when, how I understand it, because funny fact, I've actually never worked I had one student retail job, which was at like Suit Supply when they opened their Boston store in, I think it was like 2018 or so. But I've actually never worked in custom suiting. But, kill is, again, if something doesn't fit perfectly, sleeves are too short and it's something that you can't alter to make it look perfect, or sometimes wrong fabric might have been ordered. Again, something's wrong on the suit that it's going to cost you more to fix through a tailor than it would be just to remake it. So then it's just a kill. They take it, put it on the back rack, and then they just remake a whole new garment.
And you mentioned samples, something very near and dear to any New York City listener, but maybe something that other listeners in other cities or towns or the world don't know. So
yeah, sample something that's made as an example. They'll make something, just to show this is what we can do, and it's just made one of one, or they'll try certain factories, and they have to get certain things made to see that factory's quality or how they produce things. So then they'll get certain things made, and those are all called like samples. So it'll range from examples of what they can do to examples of what like the factories can do.
later, I want to return to the idea of crafting versus consuming, because the future of meaningful style lies there. So having a combination, right, as your product mix so far, do you feel that really separates you in the marketplace here in the city?
Yeah, I think we're in such a different place because a lot of the stuff is new and like some of it's slightly worn, but it's it's a weird place because we have really high quality garments, but like everything's one of one. So like sometimes we'll get things from like dead stock. We bought some stuff from a designer down the street, and he's just getting out of the ready to wear business, so he's only doing made to measure. So we bought some of his leftover stuff, and
That's cool.
we had a couple pieces, but everything's one of one, so we're not able to like essentially market online all that much, because then it's like, okay, if most stores, the way they run is they have a SKU. It's a SKU, white shirt is SKU 0001, and they'll photograph it, and their goal is to send out to sell 10,000 of that SKU.
Right.
And if it's a different color, then that's a different SKU. But we have no two things are the same. So we're right in the middle of like this like almost thrift store model where you
Yeah.
just get like a bulk of things, and then high end, because a lot of these things are bespoke or made to measure, and they're from these really high end mills, and these are garments that can cost 2,000 upwards to of like $10,000. So we're in this really weird, almost like just middle area. I don't even know what to
You're,
call
I
it.
mean, you are really unique onto the space.
Yeah.
There's no one doing what you're doing.
No. No.
Do you find that to be exciting or scary?
From the marketing aspect, a little bit scary. I'm still trying to figure out how to market it. How to explain it kind of in a really quick elevator pitch where people will understand
Right.
it. But it's exciting because I think people who appreciate quality clothes and menswear and just nice things come in, and it's kind of like a treasure hunt for them.
Yeah.
So, they see all the things, they're like, oh, this is like, a wool silk linen. This is, from this really nice mill. This is hand finished. And, they see all these things and, it's kind of like, okay, what will fit me? What can I find? And, it's a nice treasure hunt. So they come in and they really appreciate it, but it's a little bit more of a niche audience.
So Corey helped you pick out the name, but how did the idea of repurposing clothes come about for you?
Yeah, so I actually used to grab some stuff from this other made-to-measure brand, and they would just be getting rid of stuff so often because they were opening stores, and while they were opening stores, a lot of fabrics would go out of stock. So then they would have to like, the one of the managers would be like, hey, do you want to buy some of this stuff? And that's how I was getting a lot of my items. So after, the season or, when they're clearing stuff out, they're like, hey, do you want to buy this? And I'd end up just buying the stuff and collecting it. And a lot of people on Instagram at the time, this is when I was kind of starting my influencing. What I would do is, since I didn't want to wear what everybody was wearing at the time, which really, for me at that time was like Zara, I would actually buy Zara stuff, hold it for like 2 or 3 seasons, and then wear it after it's gone. So this kind of satisfied my craving for a little bit more uniqueness because I now didn't have to do that. I could just get stuff. No, there's only, 1 or 2 of these around and be able to wear it, shoot it, and then, have that unique piece in my closet.
So when an individual comes here, everything's sized out, obviously. But my point is, due to the specificity of a bespoke garment, has it been so far in your experience, particularly if I'm thinking of suiting, that alterations are going to happen?
So and this is that like weird space. Everybody is generally like, yes, bespoke suits should fit a certain way, and they might be customized to a certain client, but everybody's generally kind of like a certain size, right? Everybody who's might be like a 40 is roughly a 40. They might have, slightly different sleeve lengths and, might just be preference on the way they wear things. But alterations, we've actually had some people, walk in and find stuff and it fits them almost like perfectly. It's like,
Oh, nice.
So we're not seeing an insane amount of like alterations in like these crazy like shapes of people. We're seeing that things are actually turning out pretty well where people can come in and it's like, oh, you might need like a little bit of sleeve lengthen, but a lot of these things are like kind of like they fit a mold in terms of like they're just certain cuts. So it's like you find a cut that works for you or you find something that might be slightly different. So yeah.
Soho as a neighborhood has become a statement in itself. But why open here, right in the mix with these big global names along with niche stores and brands? We'll uncover that strategy in a bit. So we talked about the uniqueness of the store. You and I are in this realm of hashtag menswear. I remember when I first met you, it was at All Fargo's, and this was many years ago, when they did that one off of 2nd Avenue, that hotel. That's
Yeah.
when I first met you. So how do you see and compare Respoke Boutique versus other boutiques in the area of Soho, much less the city?
I mean, we don't really match anything in Soho, and I mean, I'm not sure how long we'll be in Soho. Soho is just a different market. I definitely want to move maybe somewhere a little bit more neighborhoodly where we're having, since we're getting more inventory, often where we're getting kind of a little bit more neighborhood people. Because right now we're starting to reach some of the neighborhood people, but I'd like somewhere like the West Village or like the East Village or maybe even like Upper East Side where, we're kind of getting those people who really live in the neighborhood. We're getting a lot of tourists. We're getting a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm here for this. So Soho's not too bad, but we are also around. I mean, we've got Tom Sweeney on the next block. We've got Gucci right across the street. We've got Suit Supply up the block. These are all three drastically different brands. So here you're really just getting like flagship stores. There's nothing like us in the area, which makes us really unique. But it's again, we're in this just really strange place, and I don't hate it. I actually enjoy it because we get people who stumble in. They're like, oh, I saw the sign outside. I wanted to come in and see what this was, and they typically really appreciate it.
So we've already kind of covered the uniqueness of the brand and the product mix. We've talked about tailors that you source. I guess my follow-up question is, how many tailor houses are you sourcing?
Right now, we get a large bulk of things from Michael Andrews. I've actually picked up a couple things from David Reeves. That was the first sample sale I went to when I first got to New York City.
Oh, okay.
So I'm still
I know
trying
David.
to, reach out to him and get more of his stuff because I really like the stuff his ways, the way his stuff is made and his styling. We get stuff from a brand called Hive and Colony. They're down the street. I'm doing a lot of sourcing of vintage things as well. So I'll go to, secondhand stores or, different places and I'll find stuff that's specifically handmade. And, it's kind of like if you know what to look for, you know what to look for. So I'm looking for those kind of unique garments. We've gotten stuff from like Angel Ramos, New York. And, when people discover Angel stuff, they really like it because he does this like really like, it's like a relaxed fit, but his stuff is super comfortable. And then we've got stuff from Fred Castleberry down the street. We've got some things from this bespoke tailor in Hong Kong called Empire Tailors. And, I met them through Instagram and they come here twice a year for trunk shows. And now, since we've opened and, started posting on Instagram, we've had other tailors reaching out to us to send us stuff as well. So, because again, all of these tailors, they're not in the business of selling their, pre-owned garments or even their samples. That's not really what they want to do. They want to make new stuff. And we like to lean on that aspect of like luxury and sustainability.
I never thought you were going to use that word. So do you have a desire to source more tailors or?
Oh, 100%. Because everybody's got different styles, different cuts. And I mean, the kind of baseline here is people who are in this business, and we're not just getting stuff from anybody, we're also selective. Like if I see your stuff and I'm like, yeah, styling choices were questionable. And like, we're not taking everything, but we definitely want to get more things in because everybody who is in this business is using natural fibers, really good things. We're not seeing like cheap polyester.
Right.
We're seeing stuff from reputable mills, Loro Piana, Scabal, VBC, Dormay, a bunch of mills. So we're getting stuff from those reputable mills that we know is going to last for a very long time.
At the top of the show, I mentioned reimagining pre-owned clothing. I want to bring us back to that, not just as a clever idea, but as a philosophy. What parts of yourself are you ready to reinvent with intention? So you mentioned sustainability. How do you feel it applies to Respoke?
Well, I think the sustainability part, we are very sustainable. I think a lot of brands will say they're sustainable, they're trying to do sustainable things, but we are sustainable, and we actually can, with the sustainability, we can actually hit this market where everybody calls it affordable luxury. And it's a hot word. I think if you're producing things, you can do luxury, which is great because you're doing all of the little things you need to do to make it luxurious. I mean, luxury really is just a lot of the little things that then add up to a bigger price, right? And now, but if you want to make it affordable, you can't do the full blown luxury thing. You can't finish every single thing by hand. You can't use the absolute highest, quality materials. You got to cut corners somewhere, which is fine because, they have to make margins and whatnot. We can actually hit that sector of affordable luxury because all of these items essentially are a sunken cost to the tailors. So we can actually get it for a very good price. And we already know that somebody's already paid the price for it. So we get it at a great price and we can offer it at a great price. We've got, tuxedos in here that retail for $6,000, but we can offer them for less than half of what they would retail for. And you're getting a fully, handmade garment finished down by a master tailor, and then we can make small alterations on it to make it fit you, and you're getting a very quality garment that is going to last for years and years. And even some of the vintage stuff, things we have, they've already been worn, they've already aged nicely, but you see good quality things that have been around and will continue to stand the test of time.
Wonderful segue. We're going to have to get some B-roll for this for the people who are viewing it. But for the people who are listening, you also have accessories. And when I came here, what was it, last week, 2 weeks ago, for your opening event party, which I was flattered to be invited, a friend of ours was very intrigued by a Gucci bag that you have here.
Oh, yeah.
So you wanna talk about it for the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, we will source some of the older vintage things. One of the things we do get is shoes. So we'll have shoes that are like hand painted, Goodyear welted. We don't get too many bags. A lot of people aren't doing too many custom things. Like the other custom things we get other than suits are shirts, of course, shoes, some bags, and knits. Other than that, it's really mostly clothes, but the stuff like the Gucci bag, that is sourced. We'll just kind of get it on, like sometimes we'll get it on consignment, or I'll pick it up from somewhere and I'm like, this will be good to add to the store.
Gucci duffel bag, y'all. In a few minutes, we'll talk about why handcrafted and repurposed matters more today than ever before, even against mass-produced fast fashion. So at the beginning of our wrapping, I mentioned reimagining pre-owned clothing, right? But I want to bring us back to that because what I'm really curious about is, and you hinted at it, but I'd like you to elaborate, is what does craftsmanship really teach us when you have all these items that you're sourcing?
What does craftsmanship really teach us? I mean, it really just shows us that good quality things last longer. They have a little bit more character. They're made with more care, and you can see it in, I mean, even the way they just sit on somebody. I think a lot of people, when they see me or somebody who is pretty well put together, they see us and they're like, why does he look so good? Like they can't put a finger on it. And they're trying to, but it's like, it's all of the little, like I was telling you, it's all of those little things that are, thought through when, the garment is made, or, how it's made, and all that stuff adds into the full total picture of just a great garment. So those are all things that, you know, you can just see even when you pick up a garment, the way it sits, you know, even after it's aged. Like, you want things to age nicely and well.
Right.
You know, I have an old crappy bag from a fast fashion brand that it's supposed to be like a crocodile looking thing, but
Right.
it looks great. I've had it for like 8 years.
Oh.
For 4 of those years, it was sitting doing nothing. It was just sitting in my closet.
All right.
And then in the past, you know, 2 years after I actually started using it,
It's dying.
It's falling
It's dying.
apart. It's like the embossing is like, and that's because it's not actually high quality material. It wasn't actually made with any type of craftsmanship in mind. I mean, really more so on the material part, you know, the handle's falling off, but those are all like things that you want to spend more money on to begin with, so then the things can last you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to echo that. I always tell people, particularly clients, if you take good care of your clothes will take good care of you. And barring any significant weight gain, I mean, not that you asked, but this suit, probably 10 years now.
Wow.
So,
I've had shoes for my first Johnson and Murphy penny loafers. I remember I bought them in downtown Boston. I don't know why they discontinued the shoe, but bought 2 pairs. I didn't really have much money at the time, but I bought a black pair and an oxblood pair, and I think I've had them now for like over 10 years, and I get them resold.
right.
And I, you know, made a video on my Instagram. You can kind of see who's thinking long term, you know, in terms of like, you know, they'll see my video and they're like, why not just buy a new pair of shoes?
No.
These are good quality shoes that like I've worn and they go with so many things. Like, you want to get them resold and redone. Like, you buy good quality so you can actually use them to the way they're supposed to be used. So, yeah, funny you say that, because I've had those for a very long time. And great thing about, you know, good quality things is you can get them reworked, redone.
Yeah.
They're worth actually doing something with, instead of this, you know, cheap fast fashion mindset where it's like, oh, it looks bad, throw it away. It's going to end up in a landfill somewhere. And, you know, that doesn't help the earth at all. I'm not a tree hugger, but I also like, you know, I also value what I have. And I think that just goes into people's, maybe it's just their psyche in general, about, you know, what they value and, you know, how they go about things. And you can see from, I think, when you look at clothes and the craftsmanship that goes into, you know, even making clothes, you appreciate it more, and it helps you appreciate other things more. So even when you're building a home, you want good quality materials in your house so your house isn't falling apart in 5 years, and, you know, all the accessories you get, same thing. So you take that mindset into the other things that you do as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Now listen carefully. What we're talking about isn't just about style. It's how you signal dressing with intention. And we'll revisit why that matters at the end of this episode. How can fashion be purposeful and not passive?
How can fashion be purposeful and not passive?
Yeah, in light of everything that you've talked about, I think that's a nice follow-up.
What do you mean by purposeful?
Well, I think when I always tell potential clients or clients, dressing with intention, right? I think that ties in, I mean, I'm not trying to answer your thing, but I think that ties in with being purposeful, right? And to tag on to what you said earlier, the choices you're making in your clothing, the little things, I mean, that's a act of initiative, right? Versus being passive. So that's my spin.
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, when you are purposeful with your clothing, you're getting stuff with an intention to actually use it, wear it, and it not just sit, or, you know, you wear it like 2 times and then, you know, it's falling apart by the second time you wear it. So just when you're shopping, you can have an idea of what you're using this thing for, and then you wear it, and then it can go back in the closet and it can be worn over and over again. So you just kind of want to have an idea of what you're doing with said items instead of, just, I think when things are almost too cheap, people just kind of like, they just grab it and they're like, I'll figure out what I'm going to do with it. And it's like, all right, so then this thing sits for X number of, months or years, and then it's like, it's got the tags on it. It's not worth much anyway. I bought it for dirt cheap. I'm just gonna toss it. And then, you just perpetuate this cycle of just like waste. So, that's my thoughts there.
Cool. Here's why this matters if you're a creator, entrepreneur, or business professional. Style isn't just decoration. It's a narrative you carry with you. And Respoke's approach flips the script on how the narrative gets told. Why is fashion important?
Fashion tells people, I hate when people say don't judge a book by its cover, because you have to.
We all judge.
We judge everything.
Yeah.
That's what, and we judge everything, and that's why brands and certain things are important too, because like it tells you, when you look at something, it tells you a lot before anything is said. When you look at somebody, you can tell they're telling you a story about them. They're telling you what they want you to see. If they want to accentuate something in their clothing, they will do it through their clothing, and they're telling you something. So it's important because, especially as, me being a young black man or a person in business, you want to be, whether, you want to come off as trustworthy or you want to, really trustworthy and reliable. Like clothing just tells like I said, it tells about you before you even speak. So
Sure.
That is, that's really the forefront of everything. We judge a book, we judge everything by the cover. It's, you look at something, do you like it or not? You're not going to drive a car that you think is ugly. You're judging the car by the way it looks. You're not going to talk to somebody you don't maybe find attractive romantically because you don't like the way the book looks. So, same thing with clothing. It tells a story about you before, and even if you want to do it for the vainness of looking good. You want to talk to women, wear a suit, look good. They're going to look at you because they look at you and they say, okay, who's trying to talk to me? And it's like, oh, let me hear him out. He might actually have something to say. So, the book is very important to, the book is the cover of the book is the entry.
Mm-hmm. What difference has fashion made in your life?
I say style. I don't really love the word fashion because I'm not funny. I more so say I'm into style more than fashion. Fair. They're parallel, but
I understand.
It's really opened doors for me in terms of like just me being trustworthy and me being like people just wanting to work with me, and even down to like remembering me. Like it's like, oh, you're the guy that was wearing the suit when everybody was, not wearing a suit, or, you're that guy. And it goes into just like memory and trustworthiness, honestly. So it's made a big difference in the doors that are opened for me, getting me into rooms that maybe I shouldn't have been in or I wasn't qualified to be in. But, the way I looked was able to get me in there.
Nice. What's the one fashion tip you could give the everyday man to look his best?
One fashion tip. Fit is key. Get clothes that fit your frame.
Yep.
Not everybody has the same fit. If you get a good fit, then the world is your oyster. But you have a good fit, it'll and I don't mean outfit, I mean like the way things physically fit you. if you're a bigger, broader guy, you're gonna look like a upside down triangle if you're wearing skinny jeans and you're big up top, because it's gonna throw off the balance. Clothes create that visual balance, so you want to get a good fit and figure out what fit works for you. Again, bigger guy, you should probably go with like something like Angel's trousers, which are like fuller cut and drape really nicely, than something that's super duper skinny, because then it doesn't shape you well.
Right. Last question as of all my guests, what does always be fly mean to you?
What does always be fly mean to me? I mean, it's in the title. Always be fly. Like
I agree.
Always look good. Always do your thing. Always be about your business. Being fly isn't only clothes. It's like in the way you move, the way you carry yourself, the way you communicate with other people. That's cool. That's fly. So always be fly is just, I think that means be on point in everything you do.
Well said. Oreo, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. Respoke. Thanks for joining me at Respoke Boutique today. Big shout out to Oreo. If there's one idea I want you to walk away with, it's this. Value isn't what's expensive. It's what's intentional. Always be fly.